Hello everyone and welcome. This is xSlamFox here. I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about amps. This video is intended for new players, and in it I will cover the construction of amps, the pre-requirements, how to build and assemble your amp, and if you stick around to the end I'll give you a little tutorial on firing and using your amps. So before we get started, I just wanted to talk about the prerequisites for amps. The prerequisite for amps is you need to have completed the second dream quest. So you have to complete the second dream quest in order to unlock amps, and it has a minimum mastery requirement of rank 3. You can start the second dream quest down here in the Neptune Junction. So as soon as you're finished with that and you finish that quest, you actually get your amp parts from Cetus. So we'll go down to Cetus here, and I'll tell you about how to acquire your parts and how to construct your amps. So amps are made out of 3 pieces primarily. They are made out of prisms, scaffolds, and braces. So in order to find the guy who sells the amps, we're going to fast travel. Right now I'm just going to start off on Kanzu because it's probably something that you guys are all familiar with. So here's the gate to Plains of Eidolon to the north. And to the east, we're here after you've completed the second dream quest. There's this door. So you have to be in operator mode to go through this door. So over here is Quill on Coco, and this is the guy who actually sells all the components to amps. As you look around over here, you can see some pieces laying around, so we'll go talk to him. So in order to start crafting and start collecting the pieces for your amps, you actually have to buy them from Quill on Coco for Quill's standing. And you can trade sentient cores from Eidolon runs, which is from farming formalists, out in the Plains of Eidolon at nighttime. So you can trade him some cores to get some standing. Right here we're going to go to the standing and we're going to view the offerings. So inside his offerings is where you're going to find all the components to start building and crafting your amps. Right here you can see, for an example, this is the Klapka brace, and you can see the crafting requirements are going to be some Cetus whips, fish oil, mercury liver, and Morphix. 9 times out of 10, the items that you're going to need to craft the amps are actually going to come from the place where you buy the amp. So if you buy the amp here, Plains of Eidolon, the requirements for crafting it are usually going to be Plains of Eidolon based. So just to give you an example here, we're going to buy a Klapka Brooklyn. Costs around 2,000 standing. It's around 100 per core, or if you do an Eidolon run, just a basic one, usually you'll wind up with a pretty decent amount to get started. So after you buy the components, you need to buy a prism, a scaffold, and a brace. You have to return to your ship to craft these in the foundry. So first you go down to Quill on Coco, you buy the components, and then you return to your foundry on your ship. And over here they have a section called Modular. And in the Modular section is where you find your amp components and your Zuck components. So over here is an example. Here's the Lauren brace. You'd be able to click this and craft it in your foundry. So after you've crafted your amp and you claim it from the foundry, you have to take all 3 of the pieces. You need to craft a brace, you need to craft a prism, and you need to craft a scaffold. And you need to take those pieces and you need to return to Cetus. And after you've returned to Cetus, then you can go over to Quill on Coco and you can assemble your amp. Just a little tip here for the new players. If you go into operator mode and click fast travel, you can go straight to Quill on Coco, otherwise it'll take you right to the front door. So you've got your 3 components and you want to build your first amp. So you click Amp Assembly, and here is where you choose how you're going to construct your modular amp. So if you click your prism, I can set up some pre-made ones that I have here. I have a Ron prism, I have a Shrekson scaffold, and I have that Klapka brace that I just claimed from the foundry. And down here, after choosing all your components, you get the ability to build your amp, usually for a small amount of credits, 4,000 or 5,000. So you consume all 3 of the components to build the amp, and then it goes into your inventory. When you want to equip a new amp that you've just built, you open up your equipment, you click Operator, and you want to head over here to the left-hand section where it says Equipment. And right here, you'll see amps. You start off with this beginner amp, your mode amp, and then as you craft new ones, they go into this section, so all your amps are going to be located right here. So we're going to equip this new amp that I just crafted, and we're going to go on over to the Plains of Eidolon just to give a little quick firing demonstration on your amp. So I'm going to fast travel to Kanzu, and again, to reach it, it's just over there to the east. So this is the Plains of Eidolon door to the north if you open up the map, and it's just over there to the east. So if you head into the Plains of Eidolon, you have to be in operator mode in order to use your amps. So we're going to load into BOE right here. And I'm going to tell you the differences between the prisms, the scaffolds, and the braces. So the prism starts with a P, just a little tip here, and it stands for the primary method of fire. So we're going to go in our operator mode, and we're going to left click just as you'd shoot any normal weapon. So this is your primary method of fire. Your secondary method of fire is determined by your scaffold. So clicking the middle mouse button usually does the secondary method of fire for most guns. You can see here that this is the secondary method of fire. The B, the brace, stands for the buff which is applied to your amp. So a normal amp would have 100 for the energy pool down in the bottom left, and you can see it start to drain as I fire. But since I chose the Klapka brace for this amp, it actually gives a buff to the ammunition that it has available. So P, primary, prism. S, scaffold, secondary method of fire. B, brace is for buff. If you guys have any tips on the best amps to build, or if you have any info on what would be helpful for new players on how to craft and create their amps, feel free to leave a comment below. And thank you guys very much, and I hope I helped you get a grip of this.